Is this heaven?
No, it's a podcast. Welcome to the Field of Geeks podcast.
Hello and welcome to Field of Geeks, episode 158. I'm Josh.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Megan.
Yay! How's it going, guys?
Woo!
Good. Happy, October 11th?
Yeah. It's National Rum and Coke Day.
Is it?
Sure, I'm making one.
Hey, why not, right?
Good.
5 o'clock somewhere.
That sound.
I was just gonna say that.
It's gonna be good. That's my breakfast. Yeah, I have a problem. Anyway,
Breakfast.
not real. Well, it kind of is. I haven't had anything yet.
We need to have a meeting here. Are you okay?
Well, Mitch is making breakfast, so I'll try
true.
to absorb that through the airwaves here. Yeah, it's been a bit. We've got some news, of course, as usual, to talk about. A lot of craziness is going on, news-wise.
Yeah, so this week, sad news, Eddie Van Halen passed away. I know as far as guitarists go, he kind of paved the way for a lot of individuals because he was doing things that nobody had ever done before. And while you may not agree with his style of music, it's for the guitar community, it's surely a big, heavy hole that now he will be missed. His style of playing was just so unique, finger tapping, and a lot of people would judge themselves on how good they could play Eruption by Van Halen. Just the opening of that.
Yeah.
Even Dimebag from Pantera said, at 11 years old, I was playing Eruption, and everybody's still to this day, a lot of people are in awe that you can still do something like that,
Right.
So he was one of a kind. He was married to Valerie Bertinelli.
Yep, for a long time.
For a little while, and he had his own things. I guess he passed away from cancer, and I know that there's been a lot of speculation as maybe what that came from, but he always said that it could have been from. Obviously he was smoking a lot during that period of time, just cigarettes and stuff. But he said some of it could have been from the metal guitar picks that he put in his mouth, which is kind of a unique thing because nobody would ever really think of
Really
a metal guitar pick causing that. But yeah, he always kind of wondered if that was kind of the reason or how he got the cancer. So
that throat cancer is strange. I remember
it is.
Christopher Reeve's wife. A year after he passed, she got it, and she never smoked. But she was a lounge singer, so it's probably secondhand. Really? I think is how she got it. It was just weird. It just crept up out of nowhere. But yeah, didn't think about. He definitely smoked a lot, that's for sure. But yeah, I could see the combination. Like my grandfather, he just quit smoking. He's like 87. He's never had any issues. He's got a little bit of is it COPD, I think? But other than that,
oh sure.
Unfortunately, some people just get unlucky and they get that horrible disease. And yeah, not sure. Probably mostly smoking, but it's the first time I ever heard about the guitar pick. But yeah, given that timeline, they didn't make everything safe back then, so it's just probably from Chernobyl. Here, have a pick.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing because I knew that he had cancer, but I didn't realize how bad it was until just recently.
I didn't even know he had it.
There were reports all the way back in like early 2000s that his teeth were missing, and he was heavy into drugs and near death and all that stuff. But I don't think any of that was true. I think it's just tabloids be as it may, but just an overall sad story. I've got a couple friends. One of my dear friends, that was what he grew up to. OU812 was a big album for him, and For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge was another one. And, it was always a debate, are you a Van Hagar or Van Halen?
Yeah.
So, that debate always rages on whenever you've got a Van Halen fan.
That is cool, though. It's like,
fall on.
Yeah, that was really unique about their band. Like David Lee Roth got huge and he left, right? And they pretty much reinvented themselves, and it was a different sound. So it was kind of like it was a recast, basically, right? Bands do that now, but they made new music.
Rarely does it ever work to the degree that it did for them.
Right, it worked twice. Yep.
Normally, lightning does not strike twice. Obviously, they found two great singers. The funny part that I found out was, at one point, they wanted the lead singer of Whitesnake to come in after
David Lee Roth.
Left. And then they had the lead singer of Extreme come out, and then they had Van Halen 3, that album. Everybody was making fun of it.
Oh, I remember a little bit about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't match, right?
No, well, it was good. It was technically a great musically. Just the singer didn't match with the sound of the band.
Right.
And I'm trying to think what the name of it was, because there was like a whole bunch of competitions where they were like, return your Van Halen 3 album and get a free Van Halen shirt or something like. It was something really funny that I remember seeing. They were doing some sort of promotional deal because everybody hated Van Halen 3.
Whoops. Yikes.
No, that's all right. I mean, entitled to their own opinion.
He was a hell of a talent. He was like up there with Prince. I wonder if those two ever performed together. That would have been crazy. I was lucky enough to see Van Halen when they came back, like in 2007, when David Lee Roth came back with them, and Eddie's son Wolfgang joined the band. Yeah,
which is quite interesting.
Yes, it is. It is.
Who was it? They looked at the bass player and Wolfgang came in? Sound about right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So there was people a little pissy about that, but it was nice for those two to bond more, touring and stuff like that. So, and it looks like he remained one of the players until Eddie passed away, unfortunately. But yeah, he did the killer Thriller sound, with Michael Jackson's Thriller, or not Thriller. Beat It.
Well,
it was Beat It.
And not only did he grace music, but he also graced the big screen. Speaking of which, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, when George Carlin character plays the guitar, that's Eddie Van Halen's
That's right.
and guitar. And then he also did the soundtrack for Twister.
Really?
So, yeah. So, he really did do a lot.
He did. Yeah, for sure. And I learned that Back to the Future, there's that scene where Marty has to convince his dad to ask Lorraine out, his mom, and he visits him in the night in a hazmat suit.
Oh, that's right.
He puts Van Halen on.
That's also Eddie.
Yeah, but it's gibberish. It's Eddie made that just for the movie. That guitar riffing it was just for the movie, and he said it was just gibberish. It was nothing, but it sounded amazing. It sounded legit.
Right. If you really want to watch an interesting thing, Joe Rogan had an interview with David Lee Roth a little while back, and they were talking about how Van Halen started just at the tail end of old style music making. So where they'd cut a whole bunch of different tracks into a song to make the guitar solo. So he goes, back in the day, we'd have these music producers and they go, oh yeah, this is great. Go ahead and play it again or do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they do is they take all these different tracks and piece them together to make them sound good. So one guitar riff wouldn't be actually one full guitar riff. It'd be a mix of like 5 or 6 different ones.
Oh, sure.
So think about actually having to go out and play that once you got the song made.
Right.
I mean, how difficult would that have been? And that's how good he was.
That's crazy. Yeah, he'll definitely be missed. He's got massive creds, and definitely get out there and check out his work. I've been watching a few things, and I actually found out recently him and his brother were met with a lot of racism when they were growing up. They're part Indonesian, so
he had a weird background.
Well, yeah, his mom, so he's basically half Asian, and they got teased a lot as kids, which you would never be able to tell. I mean,
no.
But it's just something else I didn't know about him. So yeah, unfortunately, when someone dies, that's when you learn all this great stuff about them, and you kind of wish you knew before they passed to appreciate him more. It humanizes him more too, right? Because you just think he's this rock guy, but yeah, there's he actually had tragedy growing up, but he also had a unique family and a talent, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he definitely will be missed. Yeah, R.I.P. Eddie.
And then in other news, I don't know why my news is so down and out today, but in other news, Yeah, I'm sorry. We'll get to better stuff after I'm done talking, so I'll shut up after.
You're just building the hype for us. That's all.
Yeah. As I make a lovely breakfast for my wife. So Rick Moranis got punched in New York the other day. Such a totally weird and off the wall thing to have happen, but I can't fathom somebody not knowing who he is. Because I mean, the movie world loves him. They want him to come back, and then he goes over to New York, and then pop, just gets popped in the face. I'm like, what kind of degenerate does something like that?
It's probably for the Mint Mobile commercial. He didn't like the deal he got, and he was pissed off. He probably didn't even know it was Rick Moranis. Do we know if he was actually targeted or is just a random? I see a guy, I'm going to hit him.
Random.
Because he just hit him in the back of the head, I think, and ran off or something. Yeah, but he's okay. Yeah. I mean, he was released from the hospital and stuff, but obviously he had to go to the hospital and get checked out. That really sucks. I hope it doesn't tarnish him coming back. Like, maybe I don't need to be back in the limelight too much.
I don't think so. I mean, he's
I don't either. But
that thing on Netflix coming, so he's doing the Honey I Shrunk the Kids thing.
Yep.
That series is coming, so
sure.
Yeah, we got a lot to look forward to. It's just some degenerate.
Right. I was watching SNL last night. Bill Burr was hosting, and you know how New York's
I love Bill Burr.
I do too. New York was in a lockdown and things like that, and over the decades, it's been known as a nicer town. And he made a joke about Rick Moranis getting hit, and he's like, "New York's back, baby."
God, there was a time back in the 80s where New York was not a place you wanted to be.
Yeah, well, actually, funny you mentioned Joe Rogan earlier. Colin Quinn was on there recently, and he's lived there forever, and he said the 70s were very bad. Like, Times Square, you could not be out at night. Like, nobody would go out to eat or anything, have fun, basically. They'd go right home just to avoid getting mugged or whatever, because there was, like, people in Times Square, like, a bunch of robber gangs basically just targeting people, and it was crazy. So yeah, the 80s it started cleaning up, but yeah, it was still kind of gritty, and hopefully Rick will remain in New York. Maybe he'll move, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure his hometown's still in Canada, but
yeah, I'm sure he's got it's probably like a penthouse or something he owns here, or a condo, whatever. It's a nice place. I've heard other stars are moving there too, so
a lot of stars are starting to move out of California.
Yeah, they are.
They're starting to go to, like Montana and Texas and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's not for the purpose of taxes. It's just the purpose of just getting away from society,
Yeah, well, there's a big homeless problem there, and you got the fires. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of like it's just craziness. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and this pandemic's really hurt Hollywood too, and can it recover? Will there be a new Hollywood, if you will, or every state's kind of got their own representation, or every other state, you might have a few Hollywoods within the country, which I think would be nice, just to have variety and more
Regal
independent.
Cinemas,
yeah,
Regal Cinemas closing down or filing bankruptcy like that. That's a big tell, because the question is will everything go streaming?
Mm-hmm.
And if it does, how will you monetize something like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have film delays now, and that's hurting things. And like 007's No Time to Die just got delayed from November to somewhere in 2021. Black Widow just got delayed to May 7th, 2021. The Internals, November 5th, 2021. Not looking too great. I think just, the attendance is not there yet. It's going to take time, this might, for a long time after this, we might not have huge blockbusters just because there's such a gamble, because I don't think they're making all the money back. It takes longer to make the money back that was put into the films.
I just hope that doesn't. I hope it doesn't put a damper on what Marvel's trying to do, because I think Marvel could keep, with their big blockbuster hits. I think they could keep the movie theaters going, and it could be the very thing that shoots the movie theaters back into action. And as funny as it sounds, there's such a draw for these movies, especially from the fan base perspective, that you could literally use Marvel to bring back the movie theaters, which I know is a stretch, it sounds like, but I honestly believe there is some truth into that.
Sure. Yeah. I think they're yeah, obviously with the delays of their other properties, they're gonna wait for a bit. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like it's a great thing, these superhero movies, but it kind of stinks that everyone's going for that rather than like, actual like other films that probably would make a difference, if you absorbed their storytelling and all that, if they about, just how we live our lives and stuff like, these films are great, but they're they're a lot of fantasy, right? It's a big checkout, right? Which I guess, in times of like these, it's probably healthy because you're cooped up at home and, there's a lot of stress in the world right now. So,
what better way to use movies as an outlet for that?
It's interesting. I just recently read a little bit of Alan Moore, the great comic book creator, writer. He was interviewed by Deadline and he was talking about why he doesn't watch the superhero movies and all that stuff. And that's basically why is, he thinks it occupies people's minds so much to be in that fantasy world, like a childlike world that they're not really investing in what's real decision making that affects people. And
Alan Moore, he's a great guy as far as comic books go, but as far as some of his ideas are, he's kind of out there.
Oh, I know. I agree.
Like he goes and makes one of the best comics ever, The Watchmen, and then he goes and bashes it. But Zach does the best job ever of staying true to the comic material. And it's like, okay, so basically you're saying you hate your own work now. So why are you still making comics?
If you read the Deadline thing, it is interesting. Like, yeah, I don't agree with him on everything, but I do see his point on some of it. Like, he got into comics to sell to, like, working class people, their kids and all that stuff. And then what he doesn't like is the graphic novels have now become priced for middle class. And, it's like the films are targeted more to adults, right? Who are, like, grown kids in his eye. He thinks this is all like childish stuff, these superhero movies. And and I do see his point on that. I really do. But you can definitely get invested into all this, all these films and so on and not really focus on what's important. I think he's worried that people just get invested into the fantasy element and they just kind of stay there, right? They don't really come out of it in a way. So I do see his point about that. And yeah, he just doesn't like... I think he liked the stories he made to just remain in that form, and he has a lot of regrets, of course. Yeah, it was a really interesting piece. Like I get some of it, but some of it I don't. So yeah, he does not partake in any of the films, and he never wanted anything to do with them. Like he's missed out making millions of dollars by not being involved with them. So
it's kind of like he's gotten in his own way, yet he's able to produce amazing works of art. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's an artist. He's an artist. Artists are really they're different, and they think differently. And yeah, I do. I think he's got some good points. I think he's got some good points, but yeah, I don't 100% agree with him. He is kooky and like most artists are, which is probably a good thing. He's not running things, but yeah, it was
you could say a tad eccentric. Maybe that would be a better way of explaining him.
I mean, good on him for not really just thinking of the dollar, he just sticks to his principles and, he wants to make things on his own terms, which I appreciate and I do understand. And yeah, it was sad also, he said in the article that he wasn't sure if comic book industry would come back. He said it wasn't really thriving too much before the whole COVID thing. So it's going to be very interesting. And I got onto this because we were talking about, these blockbusters and stuff. And he was basically saying, after this whole issue with, theaters closing and, or films being delayed, you might not have blockbusters again for a while because it's just but it might give way to more independent filmmakers, more outside the box thinkers, more adult driven. I think that's his problem. Like I think he's fine with it being targeted towards adults as long as it's adult heavy and not, flashy and all that stuff. So he did do fabulous work, and I think he just envisioned his art to be a certain way, and films definitely don't take that on. They do their own thing. They grab inspiration from what came before. But yeah, it was a really interesting article. I would have shared more about it, but it was so long, and I was like, well. But I'm glad I got to share some of it when you brought that up about the Marvel movies. We got more delays, but I think things will be back to normal. I think it's going to happen, is what I'm saying. Just got to be
They
patient.
will, and here's the other deal is that as a limousine driver, I'm starting to drive more and more people.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're talking to me, they've been asking, how's business and all that stuff. It's been a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we're so sick and tired of this. We're just they're just starting to go out. So I think what you're going to see is probably more masks, but people going out because they're just tired.
Yeah, just
live life again.
Don't lower your shields too much. You probably, you still need to take part in distancing and things like that.
Whatever you do, don't pull down your mask to cough. Right. And then put it back up when you're done coughing.
And put it over your nose. I see a lot of people who have it under. I'm like, dude, it's pointless. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. You can
concept for people, the over the nose thing. I don't.
Well, if you have glasses, it's more annoying because I'll admit when I'm driving, it fogs.
Yeah.
So I actually have to put on cold air in the car and have the heater and have the fans blowing right on my glasses. Otherwise, they fog up every time I breathe. Interesting thing, not to sidetrack or anything, but I was talking to one of these EMS guys, and they actually do fittings over in West Des Moines for masks. If you're ever interested, they actually have a mask fitting process.
Oh, cool! And
they said most masks people wear aren't fitted correctly, so they actually provide no more protection than maybe they provide minimal more, but not as much as you think it would. So they said if you truly want to find a mask that works for you, go over to your local EMS and they'll be able to fit you with a mask. They said they have this spray that they spray in the air, and if a true N95 mask will mask the scent of the spray that they use, which I guess is like a really strong banana smell.
Oh,
God help me, I hate bananas. But they said that if you can't taste the banana, then the mask is working and functioning properly.
Nice.
So there's your little science experiment.
We have tailors for masks. I love that. I do love that. And I also know it's a good breath tester, when you put a mask on. God. You're like, oh my God, let me put some gum in and let's get this
I'm gonna go buy stock and mints.
Let's cancel this shit show. Yeah. Oh. So gross. Thanks for mentioning that. That's good to know. So everyone out there listening, go to your local EMS and be like, I would like a mask tailored to fit me. Mitch sent me.
Yeah.
Field of Geeks. See what we get from that.
So I have got your Netflix news.
Ooh.
Nothing better than watching Netflix during a pandemic. I know a lot of people are doing that right now.
Yes.
So I have got nothing but good news here.
I like it.
So with that being said, The Crown 4, we're all excited for that, or season 4 rather. That's set to come out November 15th, and we are going to see Princess Diana and Margaret Thatcher. So,
not to interrupt you, but who's playing Princess Diana?
So it's Emma, and I don't know if we can pronounce her last name correctly. Is it Corinne?
It's better than I can do. She was in Man from U.N.C.L.E. What else has she been in? She's been in a lot of things. Tenet, she was just in. Very talented actress. Good casting for Diana, I think.
Oh, good. Okay.
This is the last season for Olivia Colman as Queen Elizabeth, though. Not the last season, but just the last season that she will be in as Queen Elizabeth before she hands over the reins to the next Queen Elizabeth. I'm not sure who's going to play that. I did not dig further enough into that.
Helen Mirren. I'm just saying Helen Mirren should grab her again. Why not? Do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And then
Great.
Enola Holmes. Of course, that was a big hit Netflix. However, what I did not know was that they are being sued for copyright infringement.
Wow.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle has sued Netflix for copyright infringement. The estate of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle has sued Netflix for copyright reasons. Basically, what they're saying is that Sherlock Holmes is having emotion and respecting for women, which violates Doyle's copyright. I guess what I read was that there were 10 stories which showed Sherlock in this light. However, they were not released to the public. Henry responded to this, but he just said that, he was just a character from a page which was worked out from a screenplay, and that legal stuff is above his pay grade.
Yeah,
So
rightfully
I
so.
haven't seen too much more on that. I don't know that we will hear anything more. I think they're probably going to settle out of court, but that's just kind of what's going on with that.
Sure.
And then one other thing I was going to add, because this was news as of 3 days ago. You guys remember Cuties, right? The huge controversy around Cuties.
Yeah.
Show. Okay. So apparently they were being tried in Texas court. And if I remember correctly here, Texas grand jury does indict Netflix over the film. So it does look like it will in some way go to court. They're saying that it's promoting lewd materials depicting children in this film. Of course, I haven't seen it ever to look at it, but I hear it's bad. I
think the overall, not only is it bad as far as the storyline, the actual producer of the film, I think, is what's causing even bigger issues, because he was indicted for some stuff, I think, as well. So it goes deeper than just the film itself, and it was not produced in the U.S.
France, I believe.
Reasons. Yeah, and
French filmmaker did it.
He's also in some trouble himself for that typical type of stuff. So, yeah,
why would Netflix even think to put that on there?
Well,
I don't get it.
I think
what
sold it probably was the filmmaker. She actually was a victim of I don't know if it was trafficking or sexual abuse or whatever. So it was kind of like, you would think, okay, she's going to make a good, compelling film. But I don't know. I haven't seen it. I probably won't see it. I'm afraid the FBI is going to knock on my door, and or Chris Hansen's going to come along and I'll be like, I didn't know. So I'm not going to see it. I've heard there's images, right? There's images that are very, could really, but if you look at like beauty pageants for kids, I mean, that's what I've heard kind of in its defense, is like, we've kind of had that here, but again, I have no idea what the content is. I've heard there's a message, and I think it's a good message. It's just with the visuals with it is not really good pairing, from what I heard.
Well, when you got this much uproar about something, you'd be surprised that Netflix wouldn't respond. And that's, I think, the weird part, especially in this more wake culture that we have, that Netflix wouldn't be more responsive to the callings. And if Texas truly goes ahead and this is, this happens,
they're going to execute them.
Yeah, no. But Texas would be the one place where they would do something. So it does not surprise me that this is the first time something's coming out. So I'm sure the FCC hasn't gotten involved with as regulatory that they are, but who knows?
Sure, yeah.
Screening process before they, invite these third party films onto their platform. You would think so,
right?
Well,
right?
one would think. I'm guessing that's going to be a question for when they do go to court. What's your screening process? What's your decision making on this? And that's probably all going to come out.
And I mean, Netflix has been in trouble before. It just seems like, as of right now, because there's such a big platform that people are utilizing even more so in the pandemic, it's just people are paying more attention.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't plan on seeing it unless there's going to be like a new cut of it where it's just, they take out everything that's bad.
Documentary.
Yeah, right. Or just make it like a podcast version or something. Hey, Netflix is getting the podcast game. Why not? Everybody else is.
Are they really?
Well, I'm just saying that. I mean, you would think, right? Like, it's Netflix, right? They could expand to any market or any,
True. They really could. Yeah.
But if we could back up a little bit on Enola Holmes, what did you think of the film? It stars Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's definitely a first-person narrative. So she does, look into the camera a lot and talk to the audience. Which, I've seen films like that before. I did articles that talked about how it was missing something, but for me, being such a lover of films of that, I thought it was great. I liked it, and actually, I think I heard talks about possibly a second film, especially with how the first one ended.
I do like the cast, and I could see, you know, when we're going back to the Arthur Conan Doyle estate suing, you know, because Sherlock isn't really Sherlock. It's kind of a safe Sherlock, I would say, but I'm okay with it. It's given its context. Like Enola, I think, is geared towards kids more, so you can't really have that type of Sherlock we know of, you know, who's like, you know, sucking things up his nose and doing all kinds of crazy shit. So, you know, it's kind of played safe, right?
Yes, and I, you know, honestly, knowing Sherlock in the other capacity, it was really nice seeing him with a sense of heart.
Right, and yeah, it's not just a lovey-dovey movie. Like, there's a lot of
not at all.
seriousness in it, you know, and there is death. Like, I sat down with my kids to watch this, and they were just... well, my oldest was more bored with it, you know, because I think it just needed to be faster paced, maybe. But I'm okay with it, how it was. But, you know, it's their first film, and it's just not her cup of tea. But my other two liked it, I think. And I think they got a kick out of her solving mysteries and, you know, dressing up in dresses and just all that stuff. And they really didn't like Mycroft. Spoiler, he's not really nice in this one. So maybe the Mycroft estate could sue. No, I'm kidding. There's no Mycroft. They're all the same. But I didn't even know of Enola Holmes until like a few years back. And I think maybe that's when the books started coming out. Like you said, though, she was mentioned a long time ago, I think. And in the books, in the original books, which I didn't know that. But she was featured in Benjamin Cumberbatch's Sherlock series, I believe. But she was like mentally deranged, and... they did say, like, it's nice to have a movie now that shows her on the same level as them, right? Like, she's just not this tortured soul. Like, she's capable of, you know, they're a smart family. They're, you know, they're really good at solving things. And obviously, Mycroft isn't the best at it. He's more of a politician. But it was neat to see, like, Helen Carter. What's her middle name? I always screw that up. Helen. She was...
Carter.
Yeah, like that's cool how they blended in some historical elements with her character, right? And just how she taught them, or taught her in general, to be who she was. So yeah, it did definitely build a world I think would be cool to revisit.
Obviously, I hope that if, you know, younger girls are watching To Your Daughter, that it sparks some sort of independent, I don't know what I'm trying to say there. I guess for me watching it, you know, it is inspirational. I'm obviously a lot older, but it does, you know, kind of make you like, gosh, I wish I would have gone into or liked science more, or got into forensics more, and now I could be like a,
you don't have to be the princess or the damsel in distress. Yeah. You can be the crime solver, and it's not like they changed the gender of Sherlock Holmes. It's like it's his sister, you know. Like I think it's something everyone can appreciate. You know, if they did that, you'd have more people being like, "This is bullshit," you know, all that stuff. But this is like it's its own character, and obviously she's related to him. So yeah, of course she's gonna have same characteristics and different ones too. And you know, she's also able to play into her gender as well. You know, she was in dresses and she was able to hide things, and the corset thing was a nice touch they did. So they had a lot of cool elements like that, and she's a great actress. I'm really happy she has something else to do besides Stranger Things. She was in Godzilla King of the Monsters, so she does have some film under her belt. But yeah, this could be really, it's a great cast, you know. There's a lot of big acts in this, and I'm not sure what the budget was. I mean, it didn't seem like it was huge budget, but it was nice. I wonder if Cavell, if he signed a Netflix deal to be in The Witcher and this, if it was like a, you know, grouped up or something. It just makes you wonder, like, how do they, or do they just cast like a regular film, possibly under the same studio, you know? So it's cool. More Sherlock, the better. And obviously Enola, I think, could be something really special. And I hope we get more, and hope we get more soon. And, you know, we're going to get another big Sherlock boom coming up, so who knows, maybe the next Robert Downey Jr. movie with, you know, him as Sherlock, maybe they'll have Enola cast in it. They did have Mycroft in the last one. He was totally different from this guy, but it's interesting. It's a cool world, the mysteries and things like that. So,
and you have to remember, there's different stories, you know, too. So this one's based off of Nancy Springer's story. So, I mean, viewers need to keep that in mind too.
Right.
different authors are
Is it
depicting it in different ways.
more targeted to younger girls, right? Or
Yes.
preteens or teens? I'm not sure which you would say, but yeah, definitely does have some adult elements. Like there is some language, and yeah, there is murder. It's not like they disappeared and we'll find them. Like no, they're dead. And a few scenes, my kids were like, oh, I was like, oh. But it was PG-13, you know. So yeah, parents should watch it with their kids. I think it was good. It was good.
Kind of reminds you of, or Enola kind of reminds you of, who was that other girl that solved mysteries kind of when I was growing up. God, what's her name?
Nancy Drew?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because she would solve mysteries. It's not my day and age. It's more like
They've actually relaunched
Hardy
her
Boys.
too. Oh, that's before us, I think, Mitch.
you say the Hardy Boys.
The Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
You know, I had that entire series in my day when I was growing up on hardback. The Hardy Boys series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had them.
Carmen Sandiego, you had that one, and they're bringing.
That was a good show. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and they brought it back. It's on Netflix, I believe. So Nancy Drew.
kidding.
A lot of old properties are coming back in a new light. More the better. This
They
is
bring
great.
back Rockapella.
What? That sounds familiar. What
Did
the
they
hell
bring
is that?
back Rockapella?
What's
Do you
Rockapella?
remember
No.
Rockapella was the band that used to sing in Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Oh,
TV
really?
show.
Okay.
Remember?
Oh, for the
Yeah.
new show you're saying? I'm not sure.
Well, yeah.
That'd be foolish not to. That's a hell of a song.
Right? I mean, it was just, you always got excited because you got to hear it twice. You heard it in the very beginning,
Right.
and then you heard it at the very end. You were
Right.
just like, yes, they solved the mystery.
They did it. We did it.
It
Go
was
clean
such
your
a
room.
dumb
Okay,
game, though.
Mom.
Now, if you really take a step back from it, it's just basically trying to find somebody that doesn't want to be found.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like she stole anything. It's just she doesn't
Leave
want
me
to be
alone.
found.
It's like paparazzi are after her. She's an actress.
Like,
Yeah.
Can you find the ghosting ghost?
She's like, damn it.
Updated.
Stop
This
this.
girl, her name is Carmen. She ghosted you. Now try to find her.
Oh, she's filed a restraining order. Oh, this is a new take.
Yeah. So you enlist the help of the CIA to find a girl that ghosted you. And that's the premise of the game.
I'll get my revenge. Inhale, inhale. Yeah.
And all the people that give you tips
Mm.
are like her friends, right? But then they're
So
like,
they're not friends.
Yeah.
Word on the street is
Yeah.
I'm smoking a cigarette.
No, I never thought of it that way until
Yep.
Mitch. Thanks.
Yeah.
Coming
It
soon,
makes- that's
Mitch's
always
version
been the game.
of Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, girl who ghosted me.
Coming
Where
coming
in the world is
to
the girl who ghosted me?
For all those who are on Tinder right now, you can just refer to them as Carmen. They're all Carmen.
Where is my Carmen Sandiego?
that's the end of the show. That's the epiphany. Like, oh, I'm the perv. Oops.
Yeah.
It's not ghosted anymore. It's she Carmened me.
Yeah.
They were just going to phrase. Please use
Yeah.
it.
There's a red coat and hat filter they put over their photo when
Yeah.
they just send it. Yeah.
That's where
Smart.
they get the incognito mode from.
Oh,
Carmen,
oh my God! Yes,
right?
that. Oh wow.
Right?
Yep.
We're changing minds with this episode, guys. This is
Yep.
good
Changing
stuff.
the hearts and the minds of many.
Yes, many sad fools who are looking for their ghosted girls and boys. Yes.
You remember you
Boy.
go, like you become super sleuth. So like instead of like super sleuth and all these like names that you give yourself like throughout the game, when you get further and further along, you just become more creepier. So like you become a creep at the very end.
The creep.
Yeah, congratulations, you've upgraded to super creep.
We'll be knocking on your door shortly.
Yeah.
Did I win?
And then to keep the game going, if you really want to have it go in a giant loop, you become so creepy that the CIA starts following you. So then you become Carmen Sandiego. So the game never really ends. It's just a gigantic loop.
This is like a trilogy of films you could easily do. You could do like a
Right?
Harry Potter verse of this. Yes, yes. And then you can cash in on the prequel ideas, right? You know, like what was she
Yeah.
before Carmen? What was the first date like before she ghosted him?
Yeah.
You know, things shit like that. Throw wands in there,
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
So, DC news. Looks like Supergirl has been canceled. Sadly, after 6 seasons, Melissa Benoist, she starred as Supergirl. Pretty good show. I think it had a good run, but yeah, it's 6 seasons. That's pretty incredible. It debuted on CBS.
Was it canceled?
Yes.
Was it canceled, or did they just want to end it?
I think it was canceled. I'm pretty sure it was canceled. I think
Oh.
the ratings have not been that great. You know, a lot of the CWs, I think, recently haven't been that great with ratings. Batwoman was definitely one of them. That has a new star now. Javicia Leslie, I believe that's her name. Yeah, there's new costume pics of her. It doesn't look that great. It looks like it's just the same suit. Hopefully the costume will change, but it doesn't look too great. Like, I think a lot of people are not really happy about the Batwoman show. You know, it's just for many reasons. It's interesting. It's just a refitting of the suit, basically. So we'll see. It's a whole new character they're going with. Kind of shitty because Kate Kane is Batwoman, and that's kind of the popularity of that character. So, you know, I think they should have just recasted, but whatever. I mean, they are in a way
we'll see
doing
what
their own
happens.
character. So, yeah, we'll see. Apparently, the Snyder Cut, they're going to film new footage. So in the beginning, it was just going to be like some ADR, looks like, but now they're actually going to shoot some footage. So apparently there was some things.
Right.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's gonna make bank. It totally is. I'm gonna buy a
It's
copy.
gonna be fine.
I hope they release
I
it
will too.
on physical media. I'm sure they will, but yeah, it'll make bank, so it's totally worth it. The Flash world, Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton are reprising their Batmans, as we know. It could get even nuttier. Looks like Nick Cage could possibly finally do his Superman Tim Burton style that he was going to do back in the 90s. And, that production halted. It got really close to filming. There's a fantastic doc out there. We've covered it here before. The Death of Superman, What Happened. It was directed by the late, great John Schnepp. So check that out. You get to see all kinds of cool storyboards. They actually made Brainiac's Skull Ship.
Cool.
Kevin Spacey was going to be Lex Luthor in that film. They have kind of borrowed some of the ideas and reused them, like in Superman Returns and so on. Very interesting doc. Check that out. But yeah, I wouldn't. Nick Cage Superman. If that's the route they're going, they're just gonna interject all these crazy concepts. Like, I could see them maybe doing that. I don't know. I think it might be too distracting just because of who Nick Cage is now to everybody.
Well, that's just it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were to have somebody like him come in, I mean, how much would that distract away from the storyline?
Yeah,
I get it.
I know. I mean, I want to see it, but I don't know if I want to see it in that type of format. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it looks like we could be getting a ton of just craziness in this film. So hopefully they can still tell a good Flashpoint story and not have it too bogged down with all these other versions of heroes, because that wasn't really what Flashpoint was. It was just like an alternate attitude, but the same person, who played that character in the actual world Barry came from. So, and I would love to see the Aquaman and Wonder Woman storyline, but I don't know if that's. I think that's going to be too big to cover. Honestly, I think they're doing their own thing, but they're kind of they're adapting the Flashpoint, right? Because if it's exactly like it, you're not gonna. A lot of people are just gonna be like, I'll just wait for it to come out on video or whatever. So throwing elements in like Keaton coming back and Nick Cage, it's yeah. I think that'll bring people to the screen for sure. Black Adam, that's the Dwayne Rock Johnson film. They're working on finally. They have casted their Hawkman, Aldous Hodge, I believe that's his name. He's been cast, so that's a big deal. Seems like it'd be a pretty cool movie. A lot of new characters we've seen on the CW shows, but they're also getting, their on-screen adaptations. So, yeah, I think that sounds better and better to me. The Rock for years said he was going to play Black Adam, and everyone was like, I don't know about that. So, but yeah, it's finally happening, and yeah, he's definitely a superhero himself, it seems, physique-wise. He just it's crazy. He's got mad, probably steroids, I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
On the Marvel side of things, Nick Fury, he's getting his own Disney Plus show. So that'll be interesting. I don't know if it'll be a prequel or a present day. They'll have to de-age him if it's going to be a prequel. But yeah, everyone seems to be getting a Disney Plus show. So yeah, I think they could have done more with Nick Fury. Like, definitely there was an idea maybe having him fight with the Howling Commandos, which they didn't get enough screen. I thought, first Captain America was good. I liked their team and would have loved to see more of them, interjected throughout the MCU. So maybe we'll get some of that in this series, but it's very early development, of course. With the whole COVID thing, it's going to take time to film and all that. WandaVision trailer dropped. That was a couple weeks back. It looks insane, just like, the images we saw. I don't know what to think of it. Like, I think it looks great. I think it's really out there. It's really deep, like altered reality, it seems. It's possibly in Scarlet Witch's head, because you got Vision back. They're kind of like, it's kind of like Dick Van Dyke, but it's like, it's kind of an amalgamation of all kinds of old sitcoms,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they weave him back into the mix, given that, they stole the Infinity Stone.
Right. Like, I want him back. Like, that was kind of shocking. After that 5 years, he never came back. They never brought him back somehow, some way. So, yeah. And this could probably maybe go into... She's going to be in Doctor Strange 2, and there's, it's like the Multiverse of Madness is the title of that. So maybe she causes all this to happen from WandaVision. It goes in, these shows probably will be good ways into the, bigger films that come out, kind of lead way to those ideas. So, if you can't absorb everything in the film, you can go back to the series and watch how it came to be. But there's all kinds of crazy rumors now with Spider-Man 3. Of course, Tom Holland plays Spider-Man now. Electro might be coming back, which Jamie Foxx is going to play. He played him in Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield. So that was kind of dissed amongst a lot of viewers. I didn't think it was a terrible film, and Electro I think was pretty good. Some of his performance wasn't to my liking, but yeah, it's very interesting that they're going to bring him back. I mean, he's a big actor and stuff, so that's the rumor, is this is going to be another kind of like what the Flash is doing. You're going to get alternate versions of these characters, and they're going to bleed into each other's realities. So this could possibly be the same Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2, which maybe you'll get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Maybe they'll make an appearance. Who knows? I mean,
that'd be cool.
It would be pretty cool, I think. I think it's a way to get this into the Spider-Verse out of the Spider-Man 3. The only bad thing about the Spider-Man films with the MCU, I think, is they're not really Spider-Man. It's kind of like, it's just Spider-Man and the MCU buddies. He always has them in it, which I'm okay with it. It's fine. It's just what it is. So I guess, if you think about it, the Tobey Maguire films, we had a lot of material just to get to know him with, and Andrew Garfield. So I guess it makes sense for Tom Holland not to approach that character that way, kind of just interject him into other MCU characters, helping him out and so on. So it's, it's a different take on it, and I get it. It's more refreshing that way, but supposedly Doctor Strange will also be in it. Benjamin Cumberbatch, of course. Cool. And maybe Scarlet Witch, she... Like I said, she's going to be in Doctor Strange 2 and WandaVision, so maybe that all bleeds into the Spider-Man 3 storyline. The last we knew from Spider-Man Far From Home, his identity got revealed. So, maybe that's a way to erase everyone's minds. I'm not sure, but it's going to be really interesting. It's pretty crazy, I think. So we'll see. I think it's a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths about Electro coming back and all that. But yeah. Other than that,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. She-Hulk has been cast. It's Tatiana Maslany. I think that's how you say her name. Maslany. I don't know. She'll play Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. She is Bruce Banner's cousin. She's a lawyer. Apparently, she gets a blood transfusion from Bruce, and when she hulks out, she remains intelligent. So, timeline is unknown if this is going to be, the current Hulk in the MCU, the intelligent Hulk that Mark Ruffalo plays, or if it'll be...
I would assume it would be Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
We'll see.
maybe he gave her the transfusion thinking, oh, it shouldn't do anything to you. Maybe that's how she remains human looking, is maybe because of that. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's another Disney Plus series as well. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, a lot of things coming our way as usual. So we just gotta wait for them to be filmed, of course, and hopefully we will still be around by the time they come out.
Oh yeah, it just takes time.
Yeah. So that's about all I have. I don't know if you have anything else, Mitch.
I don't. I am good.
Okay.
Maybe
right.
maybe we'll know more about Marvel's take on trying to get Ryan Reynolds into Deadpool. Talk that he has. They're trying to sign him on to the biggest Marvel deal ever. So maybe we'll know more about that next podcast.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll definitely cover that if it makes its way to the forefront. Yeah. But all right. Well, Megan had to leave, everyone. She had to go stop a robbery in progress. So she'll be back next time as well. I'm Josh.
Yes. I'm Mitch.
Have a good one. We'll be back.